Hi everybody, this is Kevin, and welcome back to another video. And today, I need to talk about Divertissement, the occupation from The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 2. But before I go any further, I would just like to give you a spoiler warning for this chapter, really the entirety of Trails of Cold Steel 2, Trails from Zero, and Trails to Azure. If you haven't played those games, click away, because this video is going to be full of spoilers, and maybe not as many spoilers from Zero and Azure, but I'll have to address it to some degree because of the characters introduced in this chapter. And I'd also like to note that I haven't finished this game yet, because, well, after this, there's still an epilogue, which I'm working on right now, and I hope to be done with that in a couple days, so you can look forward to my, 5-hour story, spoiler discussion, and review, or however long it ends up being. But no disrespect to the finale, this was my favorite part of the entire game, and I love the finale. The finale was epic. I thought I was going to beat the game. I was in the finale, for Christ's sake, and going through all these epic boss fights, watching what seemed to be the credits rolling, and then it promised me to save, which I thought, okay, this will just be my New Game Plus save file. But then it continues, and I thought, okay, this is going to be the post-credit scene to get me excited for Trails of Cold Steel 3. Oh, no. We're going to take a 2.5 hour long detour to Crossbell, baby, with a whole new chapter, Divertissement, the occupation. And then after this, the epilogue, to sort of wrap things out with a nice bow. But man, can I even feel nostalgic for a game that I beat a few months ago in Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure? Because I do. And like I talked about it before, how Cold Steel 1 made the transition from whatever you want to call it, from the Sky game, Zero and Azure, do you call it the chibi pixel art, the 2D sprites, whatever it is, to 3D. And really the only characters I think I've seen so far who have done that shift have been like Oliver, Mueller, Gileath Osborne, Lecter, maybe a few others. But off the top of my head, that's all I can think of. Here we have Crossbell, which was previously just seen in Zero and Azure, now in 3D. Characters from Crossbell, who you might think as meaningless NPCs, we'll get to that in a second, as well as, of course, the main characters. Now in 3D, the amount of attention to detail is so impressive, and this is the payoff that people talk about when they say, okay, you gotta play these 12 games and counting, which this is game 7 now. I think there are 12 games, who knows? There's at least 10 games, and they're still making them. And as you continue playing them, especially if you play them in release order, you're gonna get that payoff. And this was the payoff for me. Not only seeing a place that I've already seen before, but in like the 2D pixel sort of graphics, now in 3D, seeing the same characters again in 3D with 3D models, having them change from Japanese voice acting to English voice acting now, which I gotta say the casting was superb. They cast these characters so well, we'll get to them in a second. Hearing the same OST, particularly from Trails from Zero, there's 2 tracks from Trails from Zero that appear here, and I think it's the same exact track. It's not even a remix or super arranged version. The same exact tracks. I was getting chills, man. I was getting chills. Like, it just hit me, man. It hit me, and this was Kino. This was so good, and I can't wait to see what happens in, obviously I still have the epilogue, so who knows, something crazy could happen there as well. But I can't wait to continue in Trails of Cold Steel 3, 4, of course, Reverie. I already know, like, the marketing. Reverie's the big one where they all sort of cross over, but they have to cross over as well in 3 and 4. Especially with what's going on in Crossbell, the occupation of Crossbell. And can I just say, fuck the Erebonian government, and free Crossbell from their imperial clutches. Free Crossbell. So, now that that's out of the way, let's get right to it. Divertissement, the occupation, and I love the chapter title card too. All the previous chapters, had the horned lion, the Erebonian logo. Now we have the bell, Crossbell State, home, baby. And again, I asked the question, can I feel nostalgic for a game I beat a few months ago? Because I do, man. I feel the feels. Alright, so we'll get to it right away. This is voiced by our boy, the legend, Lloyd Bannings, who the voice actor is Robbie Damon, and they did such an excellent job casting. Hearing Robbie Damon portray Lloyd Bannings, I can't think of any other voice actor more perfect for the role. And he says, over 2 months have passed since the Azure Tree vanished, which that's the thing too. Like, playing the games in release order, and I had my criticism at the end of Trails to Azure where they sort of say like, oh, Gilead Osborne, you know, he took control, he won the Civil War, he took over Crossbell, that's that, which I already knew Gilead was going to survive because, you know, he gets assassinated in Trails of Cold Steel 1, and it's like, how the hell does he survive? But they still don't even really explain it in Cold Steel 2. Maybe they'll explain it in the epilogue or Cold Steel 3, but he just sort of is like, I have my secrets, you know, as he dumps all sorts of information that I'm still questioning. But regardless, so, yeah, and because Lecter in Trails to Azure was like, oh, old man Gilead, he can survive anything, you'll be amazed about him. But yeah, the Azure Tree, like, in Trails of Cold Steel 2, well, first of all, in Cold Steel 1, you're at Corellia Fortress, the crazy shit's going on over there at the West Sumerian Trade Conference, and then, of course, Corellian Fortress gets obliterated by the White Ion, and you're aboard the Courageous at a certain point in Trails of Cold Steel 2, where you see the Azure Tree, and then the Azure Tree disappears because our heroes from the SSS solve that crisis before, you know, Reen and Class 7 and the rest of them stop the Civil War and save Cedric. It's cool to see the attention to detail and how well the writers weave everything together. But I'd also like to note, someone left a comment in one of my videos a while back, well, a few weeks ago, basically saying that the start of Cold Steel 2, when Reen wakes up, that's when Lloyd is in prison. So I thought that's an interesting note, and if someone could clarify that, I think that's what someone left in a comment, so I just figured I'd mention that as well. So we see it right here, Crossbell in 3D, which this is right outside the train station, and to the left, which you can't see in the screenshot, is, I think, Block A of the Geofront, where our heroes went on their first mission. And there's the one NPC who's always running around out here. I think that's him to the left with the orange hair, who goes on, I love trains, like always talking about trains. Like, the attention to detail of all the NPCs, I love how they keep all that there. But this is formerly the autonomous state of Crossbell. So we see Dieter Croix being arrested, and Crossbell's independence declared invalid. Which I gotta say, Dieter Croix, I think, had good intentions. I really do. He was going for power, too, to become the president. Didn't want to become the president of Crossbell. Well, he was the mayor, and then he wanted to become the president. And he had a point. I mean, Crossbell is being manipulated by both Calvert and Erebonia for years and years, and, you know, he wants to declare independence. But he was really being manipulated from the shadows by his own daughter, among others, and I don't know, he could have gone about it better. He should have trusted Dr. Novartis, okay? Just one look at that guy, you can't trust him. Because remember, he's like, oh, I'm taking the White Ion with me. Oh, and he just goes off. But anyway, poor Dieter Croix. Hopefully we see more of him in the future games. And, yes, yeah, because Ellie's father, no, sorry, that's Ellie's grandfather. Ellie's grandfather, Henry McDowell, you know, he was going to retire. He was an old man. He was the mayor for a long time. He was going to retire. And then there's the DG cult crisis. He becomes the mayor once more. Dieter Croix becomes the mayor. And just all this chaos. So he's back to being the mayor, I suppose. And the Civil War in Erebonia had come to an end because of Reen Schwarzer and Valimar, of course. And, you know, they quickly invaded Crossbell because, I mean, with all due respect, Crossbell had the Ions wreaking havoc, destroying Corellia Fortress, which I believe Kia used her powers to bring those people back. So, well, but I'm sure other people died as well. So anyway, we see the central square of Crossbell, and just the attention of detail, man. Like, you see the department store, you see the center with the bell, to the right, Genton Orbital Factory. The little girl right there, that's Mimi. She's the one, if you interact with her every day in between chapters, she always gets the special support section name wrong. She's always like, oh, it's the special sports section. They show Mimi, like what you think is an insignificant NPC, and she's right there. And of course, in the distance, Orcus Tower. Oh, like, look at this. And you see even more. There's more of the department store. There's the restaurant. The two girls right there, you can see the one with the blonde hair and then the one next to her. They're always outside the department store, and the one has a crush on Arios. And they're always talking about, like, Arios McLean. Like, Dude, the attention to detail, I was going crazy during this. I was like screaming at the TV, jumping for, well, I wasn't jumping for joy, but you get the idea. I was so excited. I'm like, this is it, man, this is it. And then, oh shit, it shows that's the SSS building right there. We have the Imperial officers, a soldat, and then right here, we see the one kid with the hat. I believe his name is Rio, and the other one's name is Henri. And you see the cat? That's Kope, the cat who lives in the SSS building who Tio befriended. And Tio and the rest would always feed. And Kope, and then Kope hanging out with Zeit. Oh my god, and don't forget too, those kids, when the SSS first formed, you know, Lloyd, Ellie, Tio, Randy, they went to the Geofront. They were the two kids they rescued on their first mission together, and then that's when they met Arios. Oh my god, this is incredible. I loved it. But you see here, the army, they're like, fuck the SSS. They're going there, and they're going to investigate, try to uncover all their information. And that's that. So the new rulers of Crossbell rose to deliver a rousing speech. And there we are at Orcus Tower. Very fitting how, you know, with the West Sumerian Trade Conference, that's when they unveiled Orcus Tower and Gileath Osborne. You knew right away, and I've said this since Trails in the Sky the Third, that Gileath Osborne is the villain of the entire series. I still stand by that. And he was scheming up to his tricks even at the Sumerian Conference. But here he is. Friends and citizens, it brings me great pleasure to stand here among you once again. And man, the voice actor for him, Peter Beckman, excellent job. And yeah, I mean, and I get Erebonia. And there's Lecter in the background. Look at Lecter right there. Holy shit. I get Erebonia. They need to counteract somehow because they destroyed Gorelia Fortress. They killed a bunch of people. So I understand where Gileath Osborne is coming from. But fuck and I like Gileath Osborne as a villain. I think he's a great character. But fuck him. Free Crossbell. We don't need these tyrants from the Empire. The brilliant young man, of course, is Reen Schwarzer. And again, if you're watching this, you already know the connection of Reen Schwarzer to Gileath Osborne. But I'll save more of that discussion for my full spoiler video, because there's a lot to say. So, he introduces the first Governor General of Crossbell, Lord Rufus Alberea. Which, man, Rufus! This guy, he was scheming the entire time, too. Holy crap. Rufus in league with Gileath from the very beginning. I love his new outfit too. Before he had like the green on, now he got like this white coat, his hair, his voice actor too, DC Douglas. Man, whoever did the casting in these Trails games, they need a medal. They need something. They did such an excellent job with the voice acting. The annexation of Crossbell into the Erebonian Empire. And remember, this is the same reason why Crow hated Gileath Osborne's guts. May the goddess above stand witness. And may she forever bless Erebonia and Crossbell with the light of prosperity. So with that, we go to the Crossbell News Service editorial department. I love the characters they chose to introduce in this little segment too. And we see Grace Lynn! Oh my god, I love Grace. Again, one of the characters you meet right away in Trails from Zero. After the SSS saved those kids, meet Arios, we see Grace right away. And that's where, you know, they sort of told like, oh, Arios, this great bracer, and who are you guys? The wannabe bracers? And, you know, I feel like Cold Steel is sort of lacking a character like this. With Sky, you had Niall and Dorothy, who were very similar to Grace in a certain sense. And in Cold Steel, you have this guy named Norton, who I guess is cool. Like, there's a couple scenes you can run into him, and he's like, all right, you know, we got to deal with this bullshit from the nobles, but I'll try to report the news as best I can. Grace, and Niall and Dorothy, too. Niall and Dorothy were with us at the end in the Liber Arc, saving the day. And Grace, too, she went aboard the Merkaba to the fucking Azure Tree. Like, this woman, she's another legend. I love Grace. But she's right there, and we see Reigns. Oh my god, Reigns! And again, if you go out of your way to talk to all the NPCs in these games, in Trails to Azure, you learn that Reigns is affiliated with Alan Richard. Alan Richard! Oh my god, it's so good. And just seeing him in 3D is just great. The Azure Tree, look at this! Look at this. And then, she gives him a wink. Gotta use those connections of yours for something after all. She's talking about Alan Richard. That's who she's talking about. And then we hear another voice. This is KG Tang, by the way, voicing this character. That's all we of Heiui can do for you, I'm afraid. And we see the Heiui branch manager, Sao Lee. Look at this dude, Sao Lee. Never forget, this dude was fending off the Red Constellation. I mean, this guy, oh my god. Again, he's another character very similar to Garcia Rossi. Sort of why they were at odds with each other in Trails from Zero. Where, okay, I guess on paper he's a bad guy, but he's helped us out quite a bit. He's helping us out right here. I can't hate him. I like him. And just, again, the characters they chose to introduce to us here, the random NPCs like Mimi, Ryu, Henri, Kope, the cat, Grace and Reigns, Sao Lee. And then, let's go through a little more of this. We gotta go through the Geofront, and we see the legends themselves, Lloyd Bannings and Rishia Mao. And they look incredible in the 3D. They look so good. The voice acting for them, like I said, we have Robbie Damon as Lloyd Bannings, and we have Erica Mendez as Rishia Mao. Such a beautiful voice for such a beautiful character. And incredible, man. Incredible. And goddamn, Risha, she is smoking hot. She's great. So, we're in the Geofront E sector, a part of the Geofront we never explored in the previous games. And what I did here is I stopped because I was trying to get the screenshots in good order because these things go kind of quick, and like, you know, getting their name cards with Sao Lee, and they show them for Lloyd and Risha as well, so I fucked that up, so I had to redo it. But with these games, as you go through the title screens and reload at different points, you know, you get this. And you see that. You see Risha and Lloyd. And then we get their introduction. I had to get these screenshots perfect, which is why I had to reset it. And I wanted to watch the cutscene again, too. Lloyd Bannings and Rishia Mao. Look at them, man. Look at them. They look so good. They look so good. I love it. And while this is going on, the Geofront theme from Trails from Zero is playing. Absolutely incredible. And then, like, again, I asked this again. Those who played Cold Steel first and didn't play Zero and Azure and then maybe went back to them, what did you think of this? Because me hearing Lloyd say Tio. Tio said to aim for the area up ahead. Like, Tio Tot. Tiotski, as Randy calls her in the Japanese dub. And this line, like, I'll just say it right now. Lloyd Bannings is my favorite protagonist in the Trail series. For a long time, I was saying it was Estelle Bright. I love Estelle Bright. I really like Reen Schwarzer as well. But I'll get to more of that with the confrontation of Reen in a second. But what I love about Lloyd so much, and Lloyd is very similar to Estelle. Lloyd and Estelle are a lot alike. Where they have their never say die attitude. They can do it. Overcome all their barriers. Overcome all their obstacles. This line right here and the delivery of it. Crossbell's future rests in our hands. So let's get moving. Like, this was awesome. And I love Lloyd so much, man. I love that he's pretty much like your average Joe. He's a police detective. But he never gives up. He's got his undying will. And he's the man. He's the legend. Like, I love Lloyd Bannings. I love him. So, for this chapter alone, you will make your way through a dungeon controlling police detective Lloyd Bannings and Arc NCL performer Rishia Mao. And another thing, like, I was still going crazy at this. The artist of doing the artwork for this, just the way that they did this, how you have Lloyd leaning one way, Rishia leaning another way, it just goes together so well. And I was thinking to myself, and I'm not complaining that Rishia was in the party here, because, I mean, just look at her. She's beautiful. But I was thinking, you know, maybe wouldn't this segment have been better if it was Lloyd and Ellie, right? Or maybe Lloyd and Tio, because Tio knows the computers, and that's what their whole objective here is to get the computer and you know, prevent the personal information from leaking or whatever. But it makes sense because you have Heiui getting involved, and you know, Sao Lee mentioned that he got the guards to sort of look the other way, and it makes sense because Rishia is an assassin. So I like the pairing, and I also think the devs were like, oh, we gotta get this hottie in there, which I can't wait to see Ellie well, I can't wait to see all of them, but particularly Ellie, and Ellie's interactions with Lloyd, and oh my god, I can't wait. But like, and also seeing this, like, level 130, so at the end of the finale of Cold Steel 2, your characters are probably around like level 125 or around there, so it's in that vicinity. But also, going back to Trails from Azure, I think I finished the game, my characters were like level 117 or 118 or something. So this makes sense. 2 months after the Azure tree, and say your level was around there, now they're level 130. Like, I love the continuity there. It's so cool. For me, it is. And then looking at the crafts and everything. Rising Sun! And he's got all those other moves. Raging Spin, Brave Smash, Burning Heart. Which Burning Heart is probably one of the most OP moves in the entire game, because Lloyd buffs himself up. He gets like 50% strength, speed, I think defense too. And it's only 50 craft points. So like, Lloyd is the fucking man. He's the fucking man. And then Rishia has True Parasaline Dance, True Dragon Claws, True Falling Moon, and Moonlight Butterflies. And again, I'm just marking out with the carrot. Look at him! Look at him! So of course they can do Overdrive. It's basically their artwork from the menu in Overdrive, and of course their S-Crafts. Which, let me play the audio of the S-Crafts.
Finish now! Rising Sun! All right, we're safe now.
So that's Lloyd, and then we got Rishia as well.
Behold my dance, an illusory offering to departing souls. Sleep, embraced by silver light. Rise! Let's keep moving.
So again, I can't praise the voice acting enough for, Lloyd Bannings and Risha Mao, and in particular, Erica Mendez now as Risha Mao. Such a soothing voice, and perfect casting, man. And God, she is beautiful. Like, seeing her in 3D, man, like, oh my God, I was going crazy. I'm like, this can't be real. Somebody pinch me, man. Somebody pinch me. And it's the same S-Crafts from, Zero and Azure. And then this is like when you do the Arcus Link attacks or whatever, if you defeat them, even if you do Overdrive, you'll get a saying, and it's like, oh, I'm glad you got my back, Risha. And it's like, look at the two of them. So cool. So cool seeing them. And, dude, even name-dropping Michelle, the guild branch manager of the Crossbell Bracer Guild. Like, Michelle. I'll never get the one line. Well, first of all, the intermission of Trails from Zero with Kia. And you go there, and Kia's like, hey, Lloydo! Why is this guy talking all funny? And Michelle says, oh, sweetie, that's my pizzazz. And then once you guys come back in Trails to Azure in the finale, he says something like, what in the dickens is the SSS doing over here? Like, oh, Michelle! Like, they're even name-dropping Michelle in this. And this line was great, man. And Lloyd made a face. He's like, oh. It was as if we knew everything there was to know about one another, through and through, almost as if our bodies became one. Like, oh, goddamn. How poetic! And they're like looking away. I think Rishia blushes too. Name dropping Ilya! Oh. So good. Name dropping Ellie! So they keep going, they fight all the monsters you run into at the Geofront too, all those same monsters. Like, it's so cool, man. It's so freaking cool. Oh! Never mind these screenshots. Look, you can see like panty shot of her. God damn. But yeah, I was just admiring Risha's lovely physique. Because, can you blame me? So there you go. But yeah, they're going to power through. And I think... Okay, yep, he's name drops even more. Randy and Noel. Oh, yeah. Tio, and it's pronounced Yona, not Jonah. Yona, our favorites, Neat, and Fran. And Ellie and the Chief, that's Chief Sergey Lowe, of course. And Kia. Here, and, okay, look at this little detail. Kia is with Arios and Shizuka. Which, hearing all these names, it just, again, it's like, I can't wait to see these guys. Am I going to see them in Cold Steel 3? Am I going to see them in 4? Am I going to have to wait till Reverie? Like, when am I going to see them again? Like, this just gets me hyped. And again, I mean no disrespect to the cast of the Cold Steel games, because I really do like them. But I don't know, man. Something about these guys, and I think I'd feel the same way. Like, if Estelle appeared in this segment, I'd say the same thing. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to see Estelle and Shara and Joshua and all these people again. And Tita, Agate, I can name them all. Kevin. But just the fact seeing Lloyd and all of them, it's like, I can't wait to see these guys even more, because while I like Class 7, Reen and all them, I like these guys more. I'm sorry, I do. So, Risha can sense something. And this, dude, this is going back to when they were making their way to the Maine's mining village in Trails to Azure, trying to go after Randy, and they had the landmines set up by the Red Constellation, and the sniper, was that Gareth? I think that was Jaeger Gareth. Or it could have been, no, I think Jax used the sword. Gareth was the sniper. And that's right, Risha got up there with her blade and blocked it. And there he is, he name drops Guy Bannings, which, dude, no game in this series so far has made me cry like the scene with learning the truth about Guy Bannings. That, with Arios, made me fucking cry. Like that, Guy Bannings. Anyway, they keep going, making their way to the control panel. And, oh yeah, the orbital network. And here they are. So basically, with the Erebonian Empire coming here, these two need to put a stop to it to make sure all the confidential information doesn't get leaked out. Because, you know, Gileath Osborne's going to go in there and do Lord knows what. And I love, like, name-dropping Chief Roberts and Yona. I'll never forget with Chief Roberts, too. Every time you interact with him, Tio does the Tio stare, which is an image you can hear. You can just see the text, you know, Tio stare, and you can hear it. It's like, Tio stare. And, like, in Trails to Azure, there's the one moment when Chief Roberts says, I know how to use an orbital staff. I'll go out there and help you, Tio. And then Tio gives him the stare and says, no, you won't, Chief Roberts. Sit down. We're going to fight this battle. Like, Chief Roberts and Yona. Like, Yona, I feel he doesn't get enough respect as a minor character. A minor important character, right? He's funny, man. Like, you see him, he's the Neat eating his pizza in the Geofront. Campanella destroys his computer. He's like, come on, Lloyd, you gotta help me. And then there's the one quest right before Noel resigns, where you gotta go to the other part of the Geofront so Yona can set up his new base of operation. Like, Yona and Chief Roberts. So, they're going in there, and they're gonna stop the information, and then we see Reen Schwarzer accompanied by Altina, which is very interesting, although you do learn at the end of the finale of Trails of Cold Steel 2 that Altina is from the Black Workshop, and Gileath Osborne and Rufus were using her. And another note, the Black Workshop is one of the 13 factories, which is commanded by Novartis, the 6th Anguish of Ouroboros. So, Altina knows. I presume these must be Lloyd Bannings and Risha Mao, respectively. And another interesting note, which maybe I'll save more of this for my big spoiler discussion, but the fact is, I haven't really figured it out yet. Altina and Milliam, I think, are robots or something like that. Or maybe they're like artificial human? I don't know what they are. They're not like, they were created from the Black Workshop. And it's interesting to see the contrast in that, where Milliam is this happy-go-lucky kid, like, okay, Lemmy, let's go! You know, go, go, go! And she's all upbeat and excited. And Altina is almost very depressed, very monotone voice. Very interesting. I'm sure we'll learn more about them in the future games. And Lloyd notices he has a tachi similar to what Arios uses. And Reen knows Arios because, of course, Reen is a practitioner of the 8 Leaves, 1 Blade style. Of course, Arios, the Divine Blade of Wind. Both presumably trained under Master Yun Ka-Fai, the grandfather of Annalise, A-rank bracer from Liberal. Divine Blade in name only, I think, because she was given Cassius the sword, right? So they get ready to fight. I'm afraid we can't let you stop us. Let's do this, Risha. And dude, like, in this situation, how are you supposed to feel? Like, for me, let me tell you how I felt. Team Lloyd and Risha all the way, and that's who we control, obviously. But playing the game up to this point, 75 hours, you're playing as Reen Schwarzer, Class 7. And, of course, you played as him in the Cold Steel games, so maybe you sympathize more with Reen Schwarzer. But in this situation, fuck Reen and Altina, and go Lloyd and Risha. And Reen is obviously, he's not really working against his will, but he sort of has his honor with his revelation of his connection to Gileath Osborne, that he has to, I guess, fight for the Empire. But the whole point of the earlier game with the Crimson Wings and the Courageous and Oliver, what he wanted to do was be the third neutral party to stop the nobles and the commoners from fighting and to bring peace about that way. And here we have Reen acting as a pawn of Gileath Osborne. So we fight the two of them. And basically, I mean, I guess this boss fight could be tough, but you see I had close to 2 overdrives, 5 brave points. Everything's full, so just go to town, spam S-crafts. I mean, I feel like Reen didn't use his S-craft. Altina used her S-craft. It hits like it's crazy, man. That shit hits very, very tough. But this is why Lloyd, to me, is better. Because, and Estelle. Because Lloyd doesn't have any powers. He doesn't have, like, his Super Saiyan ogre powers like Reen does. He doesn't have some giant mech Valimar the Ashen Knight. All Lloyd has is the never say die attitude, the power to get over any barrier he can, the strength he finds in his friends. He just wills it. There's a way. Like the shit that Lloyd has done. Okay, he stopped the Mafia. He fought the devil-worshipping cult. You know, Gunter, right? That fucker. Ernest. All these people. He stopped the Azure Tree. Fought all these cryptids. Like, he's done all this crazy shit with the power of sheer determination, where I feel like Reen has all these assholes. And for that, like, Lloyd is the man. Lloyd is my favorite protagonist. I fucking love him. And it's funny that Reen sort of says that. I knew full well Risha would pose a threat, but I wasn't expecting half as much from a simple detective. A simple detective that, again, just has sheer willpower and determination. And then Risha notices such negative energy. And they're able to get that all complete. And their whole goal here was to, like, get the information backed up there, but then keep the orbital net going so that they can, hopefully after the occupation of the Erebonian government is over, they can go in there and restore things. And that's what Reen says. His orders were to stop you, but if not, we'll use the next option. And then he name drops Captain Elector, which again, we know Captain Elector. Elector helped us, in the finale of Trails to Azure. And he summons Valimar. And Lloyd's like, holy shit! And that's where you get like more name drops. Is that an Ion? No, it's not an Ion. What is that? No, it's a Divine Knight. So they're like, there's no way we could fight that thing. Let's get the hell out of here. And interesting, like, what are they going to be arrested for? What do they do? This guy's with the law, and I guess Risha is an assassin, But Reen says, arrest warrants haven't been issued for either of you yet. So go! And then they ask for names. As I'm sure you already know, my name is Lloyd Bannings, and I'm a police detective with the Crossbell State Police Department. And then Reen, of a provisional military officer with the Crossbell government, Reen Schwarzer. And he talks to Lecter there, basically saying that they got the information when we destroyed the computer, and Lecter's like, yeah, they don't give up. Lloyd's gonna get over all the barriers he can. So, like, Reen is really conflicted here, because, again, earlier in the game, Reen wanted to follow Oliver's ideal of being the neutral party, and here he is being a pawn of Gileath Osborne. And I love this line here from Lecter. They're no pushovers. They've had the odds stacked against them in more ways than I can count, but they've always come out on the other side every time. And then we get them running, and again, there's more stuff here of everything he says. Don't feel bad. There was no way we could have seen that coming. Especially that night. It was kind of like an ion, but at the same time it wasn't. Or like archaisms for that matter. I'm sure Tio, Yona, and Roberts can make do even without these terminals. We can always count on Ellie, Randy, Noel, the Chief, and Dudley too. Even Kia, Arios, Wazi, and Zeit will help us. There are still many barriers left between us and our goals, but we can get over them so long as we're together. I love it, man. How can you hate Lloyd Bannings, man? How can you hate him? I love him. So this is the question where Reen asks about Altina, about Milliam. That they're technically sisters, but they're a tool. She doesn't have a familial bond with her. So I'm sure we'll learn more about that in the third game. That's the end. So I guess I went shorter. I was expecting this to be like an hour, but we're 36 minutes or so. So yeah, I mean, I love this chapter, man. This cemented the fact that, like, I love the SSS. Crossbell's where it's at. Free Crossbell from the Empire's clutches. And, I mean, like, this man right here, Lloyd Bannings, like, look at him. And, again, at this point I'm repeating myself with things, but, like, just seeing the characters, again, from how they were in Zero and Azure, now in 3D, having such excellent voice actors for Lloyd, Risha, seeing other characters like Grace and Rains and Sal Lee from Haywee, and just, oh my god, I'd love to erase by memory and, like, go back and play this segment again, because it was just so good. And then even going back a little bit of ways, like, seeing the continuity of, like, having the same S-crafts again. Like, I don't know how else to really explain it, but you either know or you don't know. And, like, seeing them use their S-crafts, Rising Sun! And what's Risha's, like, bound by whatever, blah, 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 bind! You know, I forget what her little poem is that she says, but you know. Oh my god, so good, man, so good. So I gotta finish the epilogue. This game, I love this game. And maybe I was bashing the Erebonians and Reen too much in this video, but this is basically the Lloyd Bannings fanboy video, so forgive that. I'll get into more detail about everything else, particularly the finale and whatever happens for the remainder of the epilogue with my whole Trails of Cold Steel 2 video story spoiler discussion. But for now, I just wanted to talk about this because, like, this was shocking to me to see this added to the game, and it is my favorite part of Trails of Cold Steel 2. And yeah, I think I said all I needed to say. So please leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought of this. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm still working my way through the epilogue, and please don't get mad if, like, oh, this guy's bashing Reen. I still like Reen, but it's like, there's something about Lloyd and Estelle, particularly Lloyd, because, I mean, Estelle is sort of, you know, she hasn't appeared yet. She's hopefully going to appear in the later games, but right now with Lloyd, because Crossbell center stage, like, Lloyd, and to an extension, Estelle as well, because they're more or less very similar characters, they just go their own way, never say die attitude, just overcome all their obstacles, whereas I feel like Reen, you know, he's got to rely on his ogre power, and it's interesting stuff. I'm curious to learn even more about that, especially with, like, what we know about McBurn. All of me. And can I just go, let's go to McBurn for 1 second. The fact that he's, like, name-dropping Louve, And it's like, ever since that fucker Louvet, which doesn't say fucker, but that guy Louvet, he kicked the bucket, I got no one to spar with. Like, man, how cool would it be if there's like a flashback scene of McBurn and Louvet fighting, because they have the same, like, the duality in their swords. But, oh, like, Lloyd, the legend. Lloyd Bannings, the legend in The Legend of Heroes. That's all I got. Let me know you guys thought in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Everybody have a great day, and peace out.
Nighty night.